Hi friends. Today in this episode I return to you with the story of a horrific murder from Egypt. It's a recent crime that happened just a few days ago. I can't hide the amount of time I spent preparing this episode. My tears fell repeatedly as I watched the innocent victim take her last breath before my eyes, and I was unable to control my nerves as I listened to the pain of the victim's bereaved family. Is this really the world we live in now? A world full of such cruelty and brutality. I never imagined that nobility and chivalry could lead a person to his inevitable end because of a vile criminal who only knows the language of violence and understands nothing about humanity. A murderer stripped of his feelings, and Satan became his master. Before I dive into the horrific details of this painful incident, I would very much like to express my love and gratitude for your continued support. Thanks to you, our channel has reached 152 wonderful subscribers. Welcome, dear new viewers. Please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive our news. Let us begin our episode in a way that we hope will not be like the others, painful and sad in all its details. The summary of this crime is the expression, "You do good, and you receive evil." Louay, this 25-year-old elegant young man who holds a Bachelor of Commerce, was unable to find the job he dreamed of due to the difficult economic situation in Egypt. Despite the harsh conditions and difficult life, he grew up to become a man from an early age. He was completely self-reliant and did not turn to his parents to ask for money. He was distinguished by his perseverance and determination. God had blessed him with excellent physical abilities and always maintained his health. He never drank alcohol or smoked in his entire life. His parents were preparing a marital apartment for him, and his mother was searching for a suitable wife for him. He did not waste his time sitting at home or hanging out in cafes waiting for a job that might never come. Instead, he decided to open his own business, a gym and bodybuilding. He trained the children of his humble neighborhood and led them away from the paths of deviance, drugs, and crime. Louay was a committed person who loved his family and warmed his parents' heads whenever he went out to work. All the people of the region knew him as one of the kindest and most moral young men. Everyone loved him without exception, from the youngest to the oldest. But what happened? How did this wonderful young man become a victim? How was Louay killed? The story begins with a quarrel taking place on the street where Louay lives, which coincidentally is where his own project is located. The quarrel took place in front of the fitness center between a drug-addicted criminal who lives in the opposite building and an elderly person over 65 years old. The dispute was over the cleaning of the building's staircases shared by its residents, according to the customs followed in those simple neighborhoods in Egypt. That day, it was the old man's turn to clean the stairs. During the cleaning process, the young addict happened to come down from his apartment to meet the elderly man, Mr. Jamal, who is 65 years old. The sound of screaming and cursing in the most horrific terms caught Louay's attention as he sat outside his gym. Louay and his friend decided to intervene to protect the elderly man. He said to the young man, "He is an old man, as old as your father. It is not appropriate to address him in this way." Louay tenderly took Mr. Jamal's hand away from the scene of the incident, fearing that he would be beaten and insulted, and patted him on the shoulder, reassuring him, and took him with him. The young criminal was not content with being silent, but he became very emotional and said, addressing Louay, "What is the matter with you?" He followed a long series of insults and reprimands, then added, "Why are you interfering in what does not concern you? This man has nothing to do with you." Despite the provocations, he maintained a cool temper and took the elderly person outside, believing that the crisis was over there and that the problem had already been solved. However, later unfortunate facts proved the exact opposite, as the matter was not over for this criminal. This criminal was overcome by vanity and blinded by the rage resulting from the influence of addiction, so Satan tightened his grip on his thoughts. How could Louay possibly intervene and rescue the old man from under his clutches? The problem turned into a personal enmity between him and Louay, so he went to him in the gym after his criminal sister gave him a knife. Louay tried to counter his attacks with the chair he was sitting on, but the deceiver, with a treacherous stab in his neck, filled him with all malice, hatred, and unjustifiable brutality. Louay could not believe what happened to him. He took the stab and placed his trembling hand on the site of the deep wound. Then he got up a few steps before his body failed, and he dropped a lifeless body, surrendering his soul to its creator within a few minutes. Even the ambulance did not have a chance to save him, as it unfortunately arrived too late. Louay died while that criminal stood in the street, pointing his weapon and shouting ferociously, "Whoever wants to catch up with him, come closer to me." In fact, when the late President Hosni Mubarak was in power in Egypt, there was a law called the Martial Law, or the Exceptional Situations Law. They used this law to imprison some politicians and to restrict political freedom. Although it is not popular with many people and human rights organizations strongly objected to it until it was abolished in 2011, it was also used with criminals with criminal records, such as the case of the killer we are talking about. These laws put criminals in prisons for long periods without trial. By the way, after the repeal of this law, cases of bullying and crime increased significantly in the country. I want to tell you that this killer was arrested and fully confessed to his crime. Now I would like to know your opinion. If you were the judges, how would you rule this man and his heinous crime? Share your opinions in the comments, my friends. I will shock you when you know that the expected sentence for this criminal is only 3 to 5 years, because the ruling in cases like these is different from the quarrel that leads to murder. At the end of the video, my dear friends, thank you very much for coming here, and don't forget to like if you liked the video. See you soon. Stay safe and happy.